DIY.
DIYers, after the most impressive display we have probably seen from any rapper, Kendrick Lamar is receiving more ridicule, this time from a rapper that you may or may not have heard of named Dave Blunts. He had some rather large words to share about Kendrick Lamar and his influence. He's a 25-year-old rapper from Iowa, and many of you know him because of his collaborations with Kanye West, who has been in the news for his own reasons. He was a guest on Academics' platform, and the conversation about influence came up.
All this shit's rigged, which is really why I don't give a fuck about it too much. Like,
you're not bumping that GNX? What?
No, nigga. Like, what the fuck?
Bro, that's that pro-black music. What you mean you're not bumping that shit?
What does that shit even stand for? Gay niggas? Like, what the fuck does GNX stand for?
Nigga,
if I didn't know no better, it sounds like two racist white guys arguing on Call of Duty.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Nothing against him or anything. I just, bro, like,
that's that.
Do you really think niggas around my age, 25, is listening to Kendrick Lamar, bro?
All right, let me hold on. Finish the lyric. We gonna beat the
pussy up?
No.
Now, obviously, there's some trolling that's going on here, but now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of really what this video is going to be about. Speaking about the influence of Kendrick Lamar, and it's ironic because I was working on a video before this moment happened, but continue.
We gonna beat.
I don't know the lyric, man.
All right, this is how you get to learn the lyric. Okay, take both of your hands, put them up, and then do a cross like you're in the Black Panther movie. And all of a sudden,
we gonna be all right.
There you go. I knew it.
Okay,
I fucking knew it. See?
I mean, yeah, I know the song, nigga. Like, I've heard that song before, but you see how I didn't know what the fuck you was talking about? That shit don't come to mind, nigga. I'm 25, nigga. I'm listening to Lil Durk. I'm listening to fucking, like, sliding and drilling music, nigga. We is not listening to no fucking Kendrick Lamar, none of that shit. We're not listening to Black Power and Black Empowerment. We're listening to straight niggas killing shit and fucking degenerate music. Fuck all that positive black people shit.
That positive black people shit. What an insane statement in the same week that we got Lil Yachty saying he's going to put his knee on a woman's neck like George Floyd. Yeah. So obviously this is for clicks. Obviously this is for trolling. But let the headline read. Dave Blunt, who is obviously a glutton of snacks with no nutritional value, just so happens to be someone who doesn't like raps with nutritional value. Go figure.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and
Go fucking figure. Let's really break this down, though, for a second. I mean, it's not about entertaining this because we know anything that comes from that side of things is already driven by something else, right? The inspiration is going to always be their fandom of a certain artist that shall remain unnamed on this channel. But with that said, ain't that funny how God works? In the midst of this revisiting of history, revisionist history, I should say, this video just happened to pop up as Chance the Rapper was talking to my dog Deontay Cow. Shout out to him in the Grits and Eggs podcast. Chance, who just released a amazing album, it's a masterpiece. Here's what he had to say about what he feels like is Kendrick's inspiration upon what he does, as well as some other artists as well.
People want something different. Like, that's how you end up rocking with an artist or re-rocking with an artist. It's like, oh, like, this is the only place I could get this from right now. Yeah. And I think, you know, while it sucks that there's not a whole bunch of rappers rapping about medical malpractice, even though they auntie probably just passed away from some medical or they cousin or whoever, it's like, once it does start, just like the dancing thing, like, you see, like, I'm inspired, I feel like, I gotta say, by Kendrick. Like, for sure. Kendrick rapping. It's not necessarily the subject matter, but him just being like, I'm gonna be me. And this is what I learned when I was growing up. And this is how I rap. This is how I respect this art form. This is how much I respect this art form. Then that makes me say, or the clips, you know, and it's a bunch of artists, not just them two. Like, but
yeah, but that's the main, that was the.
See how that works? Chance the Rapper, who is obviously gearing up to have an amazing year. I'm sure he's going to go on tour with this amazing project of Starline. He speaks very candidly about the influence, and we've heard this from many different sources. This is nothing new, but he does say something I think is really interesting, and I think is going to really be the theme of this, is that influence appears in many different ways when you're talking about artists that are here to do a few things. One, to lead the way, right? Artists are leading instead of pandering, but also artists that are not afraid of being vulnerable. You know, it's interesting. In this same week, there is promotion that's going around. And when I saw it, immediately I started to think about, this reminds me of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Now, this is Offset, who obviously has had a wild couple of years where his business has been all out into the news. And so this project that he has coming out called, I believe, Kiari, is going to be something based upon this trailer that is going to be very, very vulnerable. See if these visuals remind you of anybody's influence.
Kiari, it's great to see you again. So tell me, how have things been? Kiari? Kiari. Offset?
All I hear is, one of these times in the fundamental time, I love when you call me out. I love when you call me out.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Apparently, I wasn't the only one that felt that way. Shout out to Jay Michelle here on Twitter.
Kendrick? Did you hear that, Kendrick?
Yes.
The vulnerability comes through, it shines through. And it's funny because a lot of people tried to make this out to be one of his worst albums, but it seems to be aging quite interesting. Think about the YG trailer, the introduction to the 2008 song that he did, where he talks about a lot of vulnerable things that you don't typically hear in today's rap music. I hope people remember there was a point in time where there was such a loud party of music that was all about escapism that almost made ignorance look cool to certain people. This music was celebrated in a way that you never have seen ignorance celebrated in hip hop. But for whatever reason, it was at the forefront without anything to balance it out. But yet, somehow, some way, we find ourselves to imagery like this that you can't help but feel is influenced by Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers with Kendrick Lamar. That seems to be influence to me. But you know what? To his point, to Dave Blunt's point, he's talking about folks that are 25 and under. And we're going to get to that in just a second. Do me a favor, though. Hey, yo, DIYer, if you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps this video and this channel get discovered by new people. I appreciate you. Now back to the video. Charlamagne the God sat down with the Diary of a CEO podcast. Here's what he had to say about the state of not only music at that time, which is May 27th, but also how important of a project Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was.
Like, I know people who are personalities who have podcasts or who may have YouTube shows, and these people will literally be on Twitter all day, be on Reddit all day, listening to what people are saying about them, reading what people are saying about them, and crafting their thoughts just to talk to them in that crowd, to just please them. I'm like, my God, how narrow-minded is that?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Charlamagne, I agree. It brings me back to the video that started this whole conversation, and Dave Blunt saying that nobody 25 years old is listening to music by Kendrick Lamar. Nobody want to hear that black empowerment shit, is what he said. But all I can think about is he's not just saying a statement that he's standing on. He's saying a statement that he feels like is backed by an entire age group. And we know that the world does not exist in such a narrow point of view. But for whatever reason, they want us to believe that that is the general consensus, is that nobody wants to hear this shit. Even though by the end of this, you'll be reminded just how influential Kendrick Lamar is. This speaks to it. It's really interesting to hear artists be very loud, but you don't hear much leadership in the DNA of what they're saying. Where are the leaders? And I don't mean leaders in a sense of trying to lead all black folks in a direction or lead the culture in a direction. I mean leaders in a sense of even just being creatively leaders. So many of these artists sound like versions of themselves because they are secretly afraid of actually standing out. If they can find a way to stand out with their appearance, they feel like that's enough. But it's actually, to me, at the root, a very, very weak-minded point of view. It's a very weak-minded approach to things when I'm hearing somebody that's having to bring the crowd in to justify their argument.
That's why, for me, man, if you claim to be an academic, or you claim to be a well-educated person, you claim to be an intelligent, book-smart person, I don't think you're that smart if your emotional IQ is that low.
Can you think about this for a second? Somebody who's supposed to, by their name, represent academics. Can you think about looking back at this time? At some point, look back at this time, and they'll say somebody who went by the term academic has the most uneducational takes that exists. He sat there and co-signed degenerate music. That is the opposite of academia, if you ask me. But that's just something I thought about as he was bringing up academics in a different type of light.
If your emotional IQ is so low that people on social media can dictate how you move, how you think, how you talk, you're not a smart person to me. Smart people know how to disconnect from that. And smart people know how to go, do some meditation to make sure that their thoughts are absolutely positively their own. Like, I got people right now today hitting my phone trying to tell me how they feel about the new Kendrick Lamar record. I love Kendrick Lamar. I think he's fantastic. I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers in the future is going to be known as one of the most important hip-hop albums of all time. That one and Jay-Z's 444. But people are hitting me, telling me their thoughts and telling me their opinions. And I'm blocking all of that because I listened to the record. I listened to it 5 or 6 times.
Same.
I know what I got from it. I know what I feel about it, and I'm not letting y'all change my mind.
No more groupthink.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
No more mob mentality. We got to think for ourselves, because if you look at the people who are trying to lead the conversation, they have never led anything, including a healthy diet. With that said, I want to get back to this. Since we're going to talk about those who are younger than 30, because for whatever reason, it seems like artists in hip hop feel like life is over at 30 and everybody's unked up and everything is downhill from there. Well, let's hear some of the younger perspectives that are out there. Shout out to Lareezy from Louisiana, who obviously has been making a great name for himself. His energy is infectious. His music is amazing. And he's gotten cosigns from not only Tyler, the Creator, as of recently, but also Kendrick Lamar. Listen to this 20-year-old talk about the influence that Good Kid, Mad City had on him.
Kendrick Lamar, like in his old interviews and old articles, he said he made 3 versions of Good Kid, Mad City, and that was like his 3rd version. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, dog. So that project is just so, it's just it's a movie, It's a great movie. It's the best storytelling I've ever heard. Amazing music. Very simple though too. Like Money Trees, like them lyrics on there, so simple. But it
Clutch the pearls. Not every 20-something-year-old wants degenerate music. It's such an out of touch statement to make. Even if you're existing in the TikTok of worlds, which doesn't always present the most intelligent points of views, but then sometimes it does present some out of the box point of views that, make its way around every social media. But with that said, isn't it interesting to hear a 20-year-old? He can't be the only one. Somebody going to these damn concerts. Hello.
It's so good. To me, I listen to the evolvement or the evolution of the artist. How did he go from Kendrick Lamar EP to OD to Section 80 to Good Kid, Mad City? How long did it take? You know what I'm saying? What other features did he have around that? I'm trying to listen to the growth. How did his love songs grow? How did his rap songs grow? How did the production grow? How did his hooks grow? What is different about the hooks? Did he add singers? Did he add, so the project itself is an amazing project, and I'm trying to figure out how did he get to that, and then how did he do that? And then he did To Pimp a Butterfly 2 years later, so.
it goes to show you where the influence goes. It is far beyond just a bunch of unks who love hip hop. The love of hip hop is not something that is restricted or exclusive to an age group. There are folks who came up with uncles who taught them better, who showed them and exposed them to more music outside of the confines of what's been force fed to them by major labels. What has gotten the best advertisement? What has gotten the best push and promotional push towards them? There are some people who don't exist in such a narrow bubble. Even folks who live in the hometown of Dave Blunt's in Iowa. Continuing on, 26-year-old. Oh no, 26-year-old. This is not good for the narrative. Roddy Ricch had this to say about Kendrick Lamar's inspiration and influence upon him.
I had to say Kendrick is definitely another one. No, I never give up on Kendrick. Kendrick is like, you know, his Good Kid, Mad City came out October 22nd, 2012. Know what I'm saying?
Which means?
That was my birthday.
Hello.
You feel me? So that album was real special to me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just seeing how his career charted and type of person he was and what he do for the city and how he stand on business and how he support us. You know, he listened to Antisocial through and through. You feel me? The day before it came out, pulled up to the studio, you know, and just we had a real conversation and we just been keeping the conversation open ever since and just been cool with me. You know what I'm saying?
I can already hear him now. Well, of course he's going to say that. He's from Compton. He's a West Coast artist. Obviously, he's going to say these things. My question is, what's so bad about him saying those things? And what's so bad about him being influenced from someone who has made a success for themselves from where they're from? I don't have a problem with it because I enjoy regional stories and regional sounds in hip hop. But I can see why a Dave Blunt's may have an issue with it if your only culture is the internet.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
If the only culture that you identify, because you don't identify with black empowerment, you identify with what tears down black culture. You identify with violence. You identify with the worst of the worst frequencies. Got it. Well, that's going to be counterintuitive or counterproductive to those who see or seek inspiration from their hometown and those who come out of it. What's so wrong with there being influence coming from your region? I want to get into this next section of region this next section of influence, because I feel like something else that Kendrick has absolutely influenced is a shift in regional sounds. You know, there was a time period, and I speak about it often, when I was younger, watching Rap City and watching 106 in Park and watching Yo MTV Raps, and all you would hear are rappers from different regions with different accents, different styles of beats, different types of pockets. When you think about the South Side flow in Texas, when you think about the East Coast approach to stacking multi-syllables, when you think about the West Coast approach to certain types of styles of beats, that's what made these regions what they were. Certain slang that you only can hear from certain jits in Florida. That's what made hip hop for them what it was. And it made us appreciate and embrace it because of that. When I seen this project, which I know some people have feelings about that are positive, some people have feelings about it that are negative. Only people that I care about is what are the people who remember this sound, this very nostalgic sound from Atlanta feel about it. And when I saw the way it was embraced, when I saw the way artists like Young Dro were embraced, when I saw the way all these artists that were from that era were embraced, I couldn't help but feel like this is the game repairing itself. I know why so many people feel like this is such a boring year, because your culture exists only on the internet. And the problem with that is you can't even put faces to some of your family members, because you don't know where they're from. Everybody sounds like everybody. Everybody uses the same type of slang. Well, here you have an album like this, which I've heard Metro say he was influenced by seeing the success of GNX. GNX, I believe, single-handedly brought back the importance of regional sounds. Because how do you have a moment like the Pop-Out Show? Well, you have to make a regional sound. How do you get the kind of love that we see Fat Joe talk about here, which, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt because he likes to exaggerate. But listen to this clip real quick from earlier this year.
Tell you, it's boy that Kendrick Lamar gets some spins in LA radio.
Nah.
Everybody from LA gets spins on LA.
That's not a true statement, Jada Kiss. There was a point in time where there was actually a protest. So some of the biggest radio stations, the biggest radio stations in LA, because they weren't playing local artists. They were playing artists that happened to be local, but happened to be part of major label deals. That's not how it plays. The game got to a place where a certain artist catered and pandered so much to what the audience wanted instead of leading them to a direction. He catered so much, found so many waves attached to, that all radio became pretty much homogenous. That's a grand statement. Maybe I should walk it back. The majority of radio, especially owned by iHeart, started to sound exactly the same because they're recycling the same playlists. They have the same demands from their station directors, their program directors. They have the same instructions that you must play this before this amount of ads. We need to hear this. We have to see these spins. But that GNX project, which is obviously the production of a major label, it created a ripple effect that opened up the lane for music that sounded similar to the vein of TV Off, that sounded similar to Not Like Us, that sounded similar to Luther. And these regional sounds is what opened that up. So it does not surprise me that he heard that.
When's the last time you went and put on the radio in LA? I was there last week.
I was there like last week too.
Bro, I never seen nothing like this. Like every single song, they like turn the TV off. The other one, there's this, the this, that, the this,
still
that,
get a lot of
the scissor, the Luther, the this, like what?
See, but that happens when you have a sense of pride of where you're from. And I think some of that pride was lost because it became less of a concern of artists on the come up, because if you can be big on the internet, you can get booked anywhere. If you have an audience on the internet, you could have gotten booked anywhere during these god-awful years, right? And that became people's entire identity. They didn't have a place that they came home. They didn't have a home pride, right? The home pride was actually shallow because they're only celebrating you because you so happen to be from home, not because you sound like home and you made a success for yourself. It's very different. Even talking about the battles that we have seen, Kendrick Lamar has obviously influenced those. When I think about this run right here, let's even start it back at The Ruler's Back. From Joey Badass. The Ruler's Back, East Coast record. Sorry Not Sorry, East Coast lyrical record. Pardon Me, East Coast record. The Finals, East Coast record. My Town, quintessential New York, East Coast record. But the final song that people felt like was the nail in the coffin for the battle was Crash Dummy, which happens to be what? A West Coast sound that sounds influenced by Not Like Us.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And people tuned in. It was more than just a battle that existed. People tuned in because they like the energy. They like when it's authentic. Shall we continue? People have had an argument about there not being a summer song this year. I have a theory. Perhaps we don't have a summer song this year because we haven't recovered from last year's summer or song of the summer and Not Like Us.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
We have never seen anything, especially in this age of the internet. We have never seen anything that reached the heights of Not Like Us. It is still hovering around the top 40 on Billboard. And we don't say that because we need their validation, but it shows you it's a reflection of what the general population is doing. You know, people will say, well, you know, that's got to be some of the inner workings of UMG embodying. How do you bot something like this? Remember this soccer game from earlier this year? That's influence. Just think about how uncommon this is. You don't ever hear, no matter how big the artist is. When have you ever heard when have you ever seen Bad Blood by Taylor Swift into the crowd? And people passionately, dancing to it because it's a cultural movement. These things don't happen often. This is influence like we've never seen before. I think that there are artists that are asking in every single genre, how the fuck do we How do we follow that up? What is a hit song anymore? After that shit, what is a hit song anymore? There are people who are genuinely confused. Rappers who are genuinely confused. Do I gotta rap? Do I gotta be vulnerable? I gotta get therapy? They're genuinely confused about what to do next. They're like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Perhaps we haven't had a song of the summer because the song of last summer is still rampaging and creating issues in places that we cannot see as consumers. Shout out to South Korean superstar that I'm not familiar with, G-Dragon. This is still happening. This was in March of 2025. I'd say that's the literal definition of influence. But, at the end of the day, who really gives a damn what a Dave Blunt has to say? It's just an opportunity to have a conversation that we were going to have anyways. Shout out to NASCAR driver Lewis Hamilton. He had a photo shoot inspired by Kendrick Lamar and his photo shoot for the Super Bowl. It's crazy. I'm not even pulling any content that we did during the Civil War, they're calling it now. I'm not pulling any of that. This is all content I've never covered before, just showing you the constant influence that is happening. Who gives a damn what Dave Blunt has to say when you think about what Jay-Z, obviously one of the greatest to ever do it, had to say about the influence of Kendrick Lamar? He said he's truly once-in-a-generation artist and performer. His deep love for hip-hop and culture informs his artistic vision. He has an unparalleled ability to define and influence culture globally. Kendrick's work transcends music and his impact will be felt for years to come. That is raving reviews that doesn't happen by accident. It's funny. He said his deep love for hip hop. All I think when I see this is a deep love for deep fried.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And I'm talking about his brain. What the fuck are we doing? What are we really talking about right now? Shout out to ChatGPT. I asked her if she can pull up some stats from this last world tour that he's currently on. There's so much shit that we don't even have enough time to get to it. I said, do we have any total numbers of attendance to Kendrick's tour so far? Now, of course, these numbers can vary. It says, for Kendrick's current 2025 Grand National Tour with SZA, the last widely cited box score roll up for the North American leg, just North American, because he's been selling out overseas as well, is about 1.5 million tickets sold across 23 shows, alongside 256 million gross. Lack of influence are not conversations that we should be having about a Kendrick Lamar. Maybe about, I digress. Biggest stop so far was obviously the 3 nights in SoFi, which ran in Inglewood with 147,000 tickets. You think all of those were just unks and boomers? Or do you think it might have been some 25 and younger year-olds in there? I'd say, judging by the merchandise, it obviously did reach that audience. Boy, oh boy, this is about as close to the fire as you about to see me get to, because I am done. I'm done trying to figure these folks out with these narratives. All I can think of is this. At one point in time, black folks were concerned, especially when you think about Black Panther Party. They were concerned about people infiltrating the Black Panther Party and, the government assisting that in a COINTELPRO. The irony of today is these niggas don't even got to be covert no more. They tell you exactly who they are.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
They say, I don't like your black ass. I don't care about your empowerment. All I give a damn about is violence, destruction, drugs, and the worst of shit that I can care about. I don't care about your well-being. I don't care if you go to heaven or hell. I don't know how anybody that I know your brain don't fully develop until you're 25, right? I don't know how anybody with all they marbles, okay? I don't know how you sit there and see folks talk to you like this. I don't care what color their skin may be and how close it is to yours. I don't know how you don't look at that and say, you are anti-me. You are anti my growth. Why would I listen to something by someone who they themselves is struggling with gluttony? They themselves are struggling with their own thoughts and their own demons. Why would I allow you to lead me in any direction when you're irresponsible with your own life? You're irresponsible with your own points of views. You're irresponsible with the platform that you have been blessed to be on. Look at how you speak about people who may care about these things in your own audience. But you know what? I think what happened is that people got so used to the party celebrating ignorance that they don't recognize that the party is sobered up. The party's over. The lights are coming on. That baddie that was in the corner that you was dancing with, you see, got a little bit of a mustache now. And he looking a little different under the light. The baddie, she was, you know what I'm saying? The dude she thought was hot shit. You feel me? The bags under the eyes and shit looking crazy. And he 19, he looking like he 82. Shit is different now. And I think it requires so many of us to move differently too. Like I said, I don't plan on doing stories like this often, because I feel like there's so much amazing music and movements that are happening right now that deserve so much more attention. I don't even got to announce a boycott for you to know what time I'm on. Shout out to my dog Jalopy. I ain't got to announce it. I already know what time it is. Hip hop's in an amazing place. Don't know why anybody would feel any different unless their definition of hip hop is very different. DIYers, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you're thinking. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't be greedy. Peace.